I'm Lorna Miller.
And I'm Don Williams.
And we're Digital Divas. And we're here to talk about
all things CTE.
Welcome to the Digital Diva Podcast. This is our first episode ever. I'm Lorna Miller, and I teach graphic design at Franklin High School.
Hello, it's great to be here today. My name's Don Williams, and I teach broadcast production at Franklin High School. And I would like to introduce our colleague and podcast producer, Delaire Doyle. In fact, we are right here in his audio studio on the campus of Pleasant Grove High School.
Oh my gosh, it's an awesome studio as well.
It is.
Hey, Don, have you ever done a podcast before?
No, I have not, but I love listening to them.
Well, I feel like we have been sitting in cafes and Starbucks for years doing this exact same thing. So I think we're going to be okay.
Okay. Well, I know we're constantly asking our students to attempt new things, and I guess that's what we're modeling right now for them. So it's time to share how this podcast came to be.
Well, so I was sitting in one of our pre-service meetings, and we know we all love those pre-service meetings, and it was a CTE meeting, and I noticed that a lot of the new people there that I hadn't seen before were asking a lot of questions that if we had different ways of getting that information out, that it's possible that they would already have the information that they needed. And since things are rapidly changing all the time in CTE and our college and career readiness, I thought, well, maybe a podcast would be a great way to get the information out. So there's just so much information to share out there.
So Delaire and I thought this was a fantastic idea, and we wanted to be a part of it.
Well, sharing is caring. All right, let's get started by playing a little game.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's called the Acronym Game because you know how much educators love acronyms.
Yes, I do.
All right, here's the first one. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
What does CTE mean?
Well, CTE stands for Career Technical Education.
Perfect.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right.
Got the first one. What does ROP stand for?
I know this one. It stands for Regional Occupational Program.
Good job. All right, they get a little bit harder, though.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Let's do it.
What is CPA?
Certified Public Accountant.
No. No, sorry, you're wrong. It means, are you ready?
I'm ready.
California Partnership Academy. All right, here's another one for you. What does HQP stand for?
I know this one. It stands for High Quality Pathway.
Ooh, good job. Are you ready for one more?
I am. Let's do it.
It's going to be a hard one.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
LCFF.
Okay. This was a hard one. Let me give it a try, though.
Okay.
Local Control Fund and Funding?
No, but good try.
Okay.
It's Local Control Funding Formula. And apparently, from what I understand, that's when things became really interesting in the education world.
So hopefully we can explain all of that. It's time to introduce our very first guest, the one and only Kathy Hamilton, former director of College and Career Connections in the Elk Grove Unified School District.
Yes, she's the queen of CTE herself. Come on in, Kathy.
All right. Kathy, welcome to our first episode of our Digital Diva podcast.
Thank you, Don.
Well, because the subject of our first episode is what is CTE and the history of it in our district, we thought you would be the perfect guest.
Thank you, Lorna, for the honor of being your first guest.
Of course. But before we get into that, what is CTE and the history, since you, Queen Kathy, have stepped back from your senior position in the royal family by retiring. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank
You've
you.
kind of Meghan Markled us, but that's okay. Tell us what you're up to. Have you been traveling or anything?
So far I've been taking some short trips in Northern California, and I'm in the process of planning a longer trip to the Southwest for spring training in March, and then we'll be visiting some of the national parks in Utah. But more than travel, I've really been doing a lot of major projects around the house.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's tell our listeners about your history in Elk Grove Unified School District.
In 2010, I became the director of College and Career Connections, which is a department that includes career technical education, adult education, college transitions, and charter school authorization. Before that, starting in 1989, I was working for Elk Grove Unified School District as an adult education teacher. teaching English as a second language. In 2001, I became the program administrator for Elk Grove Adult and Community Education, and in 2005, I became their director.
All right.
So you've seen a lot of these programs evolve since their inception. What inspired you to be the driving force of CTE in our district?
Well, as I learned more about the district's longtime commitment to California Partnership Academies and regional occupational programs and CTE in general, as well as the instructional approach called linked learning, I saw huge potential to more fully develop students to succeed in college, career, and life. I quickly came to believe that a robust implementation of the linked learning approach would complement the district's college and career readiness initiatives, such as advanced placement courses or International Baccalaureate and AVID.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought that linked learning could be a means to unify all of these separate initiatives into a more coherent whole that would impact a larger number of students.
Okay, so let's back up just a little bit and try to define exactly what CTE is. So when I came on the CTE scene 5 or 6 years ago, my perspective was that it evolved from ROP. But that doesn't seem to be the whole story. So when we transitioned from ROP to CTE, how did that change exactly the structure of everything? And is there still ROP?
Yeah, that's a good question. So to start with, Lorna, a basic definition of CTE is that career technical education, CTE, is the practice of teaching specific career skills to students in middle school, high school, and post-secondary education. CTE evolved from what was initially known as vocational education, which goes back 100 years in this nation. The purpose of CTE is to prepare students to become effective members of the local workforce. Across this nation, it is accepted that a valid CTE program of study must encompass a minimum of 300 hours of instruction. In this state, historically, ROP has been one way for school districts to offer CTE. ROP was designed to offer CTE instruction regionally to students from many high schools. ROP courses typically were offered outside the school day in order to avoid interrupting students' regular instructional schedule. EGUSD and California started to transition away from ROP as the primary delivery system of CTE following the Great Recession in 2008. And the subsequent the subsequent institution of the local control funding formula. The state stopped providing direct funding for ROPs and instead redirected that funding to districts to determine how they wanted to design local CTE instruction. Consequently, in Sacramento County, ROP is no longer funded. Nonetheless, EGUSD still offers 6 intensive CTE courses.
That's good to know.
Formerly offered through the county's ROP program that are open to students from throughout the region. These courses are offered under our local title, Explore CTE. You ask how the transition away from ROP changed the structure of CTE in EGUSD. The primary change, which evolved over several years, is that the majority of CTE instruction in this district is now offered exclusively to students at individual high schools and during the school day. Also, instead of single intensive courses like ROP, CTE programs of study now include a sequence of 2 to 4 less intensive courses offered through a multi-year pathway.
Wow. Just so we can get an overall picture of what CTE is, would you say that because of the changes in funding sources over the years, we now have multiple ways we can deliver a CTE education and academies, ROPs, and pathways?
Well, first of all, let's just remember it's local control fun and funding.
That's right.
That's what we decided it stands for. But go ahead, Kathy.
Okay. Yes, in our district, we do have multiple ways to deliver CTE instruction. In EGUSD, these include CTE pathways at 11 of our 14 high schools and 6 Explore CTE courses. Furthermore, many of our CTE pathways are housed within the 15 California Partnership Academies located at each of our non-comprehensive high schools.
Wow.
Okay, well, with CTE, high quality pathways being the newest form of that delivery, can you briefly explain what a pathway is then?
Yeah. So pathways are a recommended sequence of CTE courses related to a career focus area in one of 15 industry sectors. For example, an industry sector is arts, media, and entertainment, and a pathway within arts, media, and entertainment might be media production.
Graphic design.
Or graphic design, exactly.
Right.
So pathways include separate introductory, intermediate, and capstone or advanced courses. Pathways aren't a particularly new concept. However, with the issuance of the California Technical Education, the Career Technical Education, what does the I stand for? Incentive Grant.
Oh, it's an
or
acronym.
CTIG.
All those acronyms.
You can tell I'm retired.
Okay.
So with the issuance of the CTIG funding in 2015, the state has indicated that pathways should be the primary format of CTE. So concept of pathways is not new. However, the state's giving us lots of money and saying we really want you to have top-notch pathways. So the high-quality focus. The state also has advised that both CTIG funding and now the new Strong Workforce program funding should be used to develop high-quality pathways that perform at the highest level based on their 11 elements of a high-quality pathway.
That's for another episode. So, all those listeners out there, we will explain those 11 elements to you later.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
They may soon be 13 elements
instead
of 11 elements.
Hopefully it's more like
wait till
8,
that's
but that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the difference then between a high-quality pathway and an academy?
Yeah, you're right, Dawn. They're not exactly the same thing, although they share many elements, such as a career theme, work-based learning, college and career planning and transitions, high-quality teachers, and the use of data to evaluate student needs. An academy, however, is a school within a school where students are cohorted or they travel together for both their CTE pathway or sequence of courses and many of their core academic courses, so their English, science, math, or social science courses. Teachers, both CTE and core academic, are more likely to have common prep times and the opportunity to align curriculum and develop projects that may be worked on in multiple classes.
Okay, well, with the introduction of those high-quality pathways, that model, it must have been a major undertaking unraveling all of those CTE courses throughout the district because there were a lot.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Yeah, that's an understatement, Lorna. It's taken us several years working with many teachers, counselors, and school administrators to figure out which of over 150 CTE courses belonged in which pathway. Complicating this effort was the practice of our high schools to organize the courses into pathways as they saw fit. We can't allow that much variation. There needs to be alignment with state guidance and structure. So, for example, historically, that's what I wanted to say. For example, a video production at one site was an introductory course, while at another site it was used as an intermediate course.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, in the past, students could enroll in that capstone or advanced course as an elective without taking any of the prerequisite courses. So, this would be akin to allowing a student to enroll in calculus before they took integrated math 1, 2, or 3.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the evolution to where we are now took lots of education, training, and mindset changing for all of us,
Yeah.
as well as course development and rewriting existing courses, changes to our district catalog, and shifting from one student information system to another.
Right.
So
Right.
I'll just stop right there, and you can let me know.
Student information system might be another episode as well.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
So with the district now having 67, I think, is that about right? High-quality pathways, several academies, it's apparent that EGUSD has now arrived with a robust CTE program offerings at this point. It's clear that EGUSD is committed to these wonderfully rich programs.
Yeah.
Why do you think CTE is so important to our students?
Well, I believe that CTE is important to Elk Grove Unified students for a variety of reasons. To start with, CTE courses and pathways make academics relevant.
Right.
Students can apply their math, science, reading, or writing skills on real-world projects. They can better appreciate some of the lessons that they learn from studying our history. Furthermore, because many of the opportunities in CTE are hands-on learning, CTE lets students learn through modalities that they might not be using as frequently in core academic courses. Beyond increasing student engagement in their learning, CTE provides important opportunities for students to advance to post-secondary education and access career options. Through completion of a CTE pathway, students can earn free, transferable college credits and gain priority enrollment in post-secondary institutions. While participating in a CTE pathway, furthermore, students can benefit from work-based learning and network with local and regional industry experts and employers. Work-based learning is a great way for students to start exploring their career interests. To summarize, like AP or IB courses, CTE pathways prepare students to succeed in college and prepare for workforce success. CTE pathways develop students who meet the college and career readiness characteristics described in our district's graduate profile.
Wow. I also think it gives kids a home too, you know, a place where they, feel like they have people who have the same interests and the same goals.
Yeah.
So it's really nice too.
And they're so engaged.
Yes.
Whether it's engineering, animation, graphic design, video production, health care, they're so engaged, and they start day one working on the entry level. Then they move on to the harder ones, and then they end with the capstone. And so many opportunities are given to students.
I feel like they're like 10 steps ahead of some of the other kids going to college and off to wherever they go, whether it's college or workforce or whatnot. Well, we could sit and listen to you all day. Seriously, we can for hours on end, but we are running out of time for our podcast, our very first episode. So we have two final questions for you. The first one is, I'm going to tell you both, and then you can answer them. The first question is, as CTE teachers, what valuable lessons do we need to remember? And the second is, if you had a crystal ball and could see the future, what would you like to see happening in the world of CTE?
Okay, so I can offer some suggestions about the lessons CTE teachers might want to keep in mind. I would ask, for example, that you provide regular input to the College and Career Connections Department about the kind of support that you need.
Oh, we don't have any problem with that, Kathy.
And your peers. Specifically as that pertains to achieving the high quality elements.
Right.
That's what we got to keep working on.
Sure.
And so that leads to some other recommendations. For example, take the continuous improvement process seriously. Don't be afraid to identify your gaps, and don't be afraid to speak to them. Keep track of your progress as you address those gaps, and be able to demonstrate that you're making progress.
Yeah.
Just take it, in small chunks.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't. It's intimidating when we talk about 11 elements.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I got to
That's
achieve them all now. No, you need to work on them one at a time.
Yes.
Right.
That's what the College and Career Connections Department is there for. Also, be patient when the college and career Connections Department asks all the time, do you want to participate in a committee? Do you want to provide information? How about, here's some new procedures you can follow. Right. And here's some new protocol you need to pay attention to. And let's do a needs assessment. I understand that that's always an impingement on your time, but try to be patient with us. We're doing it for what we hope will be helpful reasons.
Right.
Teaching CTE is hard enough by itself, but running a high-quality pathway or a California Partnership Academy is a big commitment. So, that's something else I ask of our teachers. Give yourself credit. What you're doing is really important, and it is hard. Help the College and Career Connections Department tell your story to site and district leadership and your peers and our families. So that's the answer to the first question.
Okay.
So your second question was about the future.
Yes.
So as far as looking into the future, what are some things that I would like to see related to the world of CTE?
Well, you are the queen, so.
Okay, that's a heavy responsibility. What is it when the queen retires and, the regent queen or something like that?
Yeah, are you the regent?
I don't know. Is that what I am?
Now?
The queen mother?
We'll take it.
Okay.
Yes.
So anyway, things that I would like to see. I would like to see that things stabilize statewide. Particularly as it pertains to the predictability of funding for CTE and college and career readiness. That was always one of the most frustrating things for me, and I'm sure for teachers.
It's always a moving target,
it is.
like.
Every year, it seems like there's some kind of a change, and we're never sure that the funding's going to be there.
Right.
I would also like to see younger children exposed to hands-on learning, project-based activities that will help prepare them for college and career readiness beyond just studying rigorous academics. I would like to see more local and regional businesses and industries explicitly communicate to our school districts about their needs for a prepared workforce. Yeah. That would help us have, some ideas about what it is we should be teaching our kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And finally, I would like to see public schools recognized as the linchpin of our civil society and economic security, and that CTE is part of that equation.
Yeah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
That's not too lofty.
For sure, no.
Wow. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us today in our very first episode.
So exciting.
There's so much more we could talk about. I know it. Would you be able to come back another day, maybe?
Well, sure. If there's any additional interest in this topic, I would be happy to come back. But I'd also suggest that you might want to capture some teacher and student voices, which probably would be much more interesting than mine.
So, no, that's not true. But stay tuned, because that will come.
Yes, stay tuned.
All right. I want to also thank our listeners out there for tuning in. We obviously have tons of information that we want to deliver about all things CTE. So some of our future episodes this school year will be about funding, linked learning, work-based learning, externships, advisory committees, and just so much. Our next episode will be about getting your CTE credential, so be sure to tune in. But before we go, we want to check in with our amazing producer, Mr. Delaire Doyle, who's always chock full of good information. So now is our final segment of
Delaire's Nugget of Knowledge.
The greatest gift a teacher can give a student is a heart that listens. The greatest gift a student can give a teacher is the opportunity to share their knowledge and experiences.
This episode was brought to you by Elk Grove Unified School District's College and Career Connections, linking you to career technical education.